Well, on the path up the spiritual mountain and in the soul adventure of life, we have help. And in ECKANKAR, the guides who can help us are the ECK Masters. This is an unbroken line of spiritual teachers, each of whom have reached the pinnacle of the spiritual mountain. Some have been historical figures, others have worked silently, some in small groups. But whoever they are, they've always worked together for the benefit of the awakening soul. In small ways, in big ways, and all ways. Up next, we have a family panel, and they'll be sharing on the topic of how God's love helps in every situation. Please welcome Karina, Annika, and Eric Volpe.
Thank you. We made it.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Annika?
One day, I was in the car with my dad, and we were going to the hardware store. I was upset because I didn't really want to go. I sat in the back seat, not happy about going to the store. Next to me, I felt a happy vibration and was aware of the presence of the ECK Master, Rebazar Tarzs. It felt like hugging love. It was calming and I felt relaxed. The anger and sadness had disappeared for that moment. Walking into the store with my dad, I dragged my feet. Then, for a second time, even though I couldn't see him, I could feel the special presence of Rebazar. Since I was still a bit upset, I noticed that when Rebazar was with me, I felt lighter and happier. At that moment, my feelings went downwards. Again, the tingly, happy feeling of Rebazar, like he was walking next to me. When we were about to check out of the store, when I feel Rebazar's presence again. At that moment, I felt more happier than in my whole life. He was even with me during the drive home. It felt like a big spiritual shift for me, like I grew spiritual. Now that I look back at that experience, I realize that it was such a blessing. Now that I helps me move forward to being 9 years old. Did you know that Rebazar has been an ECK Master for a long time? He has said to be over 500 years old. He helped Sri Harold, the current leader of ECKANKAR, assist people and act as a guardian. That is how I feel about him. He is a guardian for me. Thank you.
Well, a couple of months ago, I was feeling pretty stressed. School was about to begin, and there were a lot of new COVID-related situations and things at the school. And I was just feeling a little bit tense about it. And also, my neighbors, that was a little bit complicated, our relationship, because it seemed like we all had different views of the world issues, and I just felt a little bit tense. So during my contemplation, I decided to sing Hugh, and I decided to do an ECK blessing, to do May the Blessings Be as my spiritual exercise. And I blessed the whole school, teachers, and all the parents, and also my neighbors, and just sent the big wave of May the Blessings Be. And that did help, and I did feel a lot better. But in my but later on that night, I went to bed and I decided to take some vitamins. And they got stuck right here in my chest. And I could feel, the pressure. And so I went to sleep, and then the next morning, I could still feel the pressure. And then after going to the bathroom, the toilet didn't flush. And I was in a hurry to get her to school, so I just closed the lid, and I thought, I think the egg is trying to tell me something here. And so then when I got in the car, I saw there was a warning light in the car as well that said one of my tires was low. So after I dropped her off at school, I went to a store, and I saw like these beautiful roses. I know my neighbor loves roses, and so I got them for her. And then I found the best plant for the teacher and the classroom. And I felt like I was outflowing again, like things were moving. I didn't feel stuck. So then I decided to, once I got home, also I checked on the toilet, and it had gone all the way down. So I felt like things were flowing again. But I decided to do a spiritual exercise to kind of review what was going on. And I used the spiritual exercises for the Shariat Book 2. And I got Forming the Universe, which is an exercise in there. And one of the things it says, today, consecrate yourself as a clear vehicle to serve the good of the whole. See yourself as a transparency for the love and action of ECK. And I realized I was stuck in opinions and fear, and that I had a part in forming my own universe and being a clear channel for love in action. And I continue to creatively clear the path for love. Thank you.
Well, at our home, I have bedtime detail, which usually involves Anik and I reading one of our favorite books together. And it's usually a really sweet time. After one of those hard days at work, which everybody can have, the stress was rolling around in my head, and my mind just didn't want to let it go. And I thought to myself, this is not how I enjoy reading with my daughter. I usually like being a completely open channel for love, especially before bedtime. So I decided to stop for a few moments and sing Hugh, this love song to God. And as I got into it, I thought to myself, I got this idea, this inner nudge to put all my attention on how much I love the Hugh. And as I did that, after about 5 hues or so, I realized that I was absolutely, completely free. I was washed away of all my stress. And I completely filled with love, and I was raring to go for that story. I also had a couple more opportunities to practice out with loving success. And what I had found out, for me, as I thought about this, to me, it was like, for me, finding that wonderful, magical, special place where all of my love for the Hugh and its love for me were one. Another story time, we were reading Tales Told Under the Banyan Tree by Sri Harold Klemp. And in that story, Sri Harold writes about telling parables to children under a banyan tree. And then they go off on spiritual soul travel adventures. Well, that night, I got the idea or the nudge to do my Hugh a little differently. And this time, I decided to put all my attention on how much I love the Mahanta, my inner guide, and invite him to join us for the reading of our story. And then moments later, as I got into this wonderful Hugh, I felt this incredible presence of this most powerful wave of love that I have ever felt before. And I sat back and just had to be there for a moment in this amazing love. And I thought to myself, he's here. He's here. And I thank you, Mahanta, for that wonderful presence. It was such a sweet blessing for the story night. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the seminar.
Joy.